Hello and a very warm welcome to yet another episode of We Talk Talent series, a special initiative by the Economic Times EHRWorld to unravel all the things related to the human capital management space. Today with us, we have Mr. Krishna Raghavan, Chief People Officer, Flipkart, and I'm very glad to welcome him today. Krishna and his team aims to transform Flipkart to be the employer choice by providing an inclusive and entrepreneurial environment through a balance of bespoke and sustainable people practices. Over the last 2 years in his tenure as Chief People Officer, Krishna has built a strong development-focused and inclusive organization that allows all the best ideas to emerge from anywhere to serve their customers and sellers. Krishna and his team continue to transform processes and leadership to equip Flipkart for future fit scale. Prior to his current role, Krishna has been the technology head for Flipkart fulfillment and services and customer experience groups. In the course of his tenure at Flipkart, he has also superheaded the launch of the marketplace platform and has led multiple strategic technology initiatives for eCart. Aside from his strong technical expertise, he has also known to be the people's leader, a leader who brings with him the right blend of technical and people skills. He has also built exceptionally engineering teams from scratch with his intuitive people management and sound organizational planning. With a career spanning over 2 decades, Krishna is well known for his empathetic style of leading cross-functional teams to achieve human-centric winning business outcomes. He has worked across diverse geographies and work culture and is known to be an active champion of driving a people-first culture in organization. Welcome, Krishna.
Thank you so much, Priya, for inviting me. Glad to be here.
So there has been a lot of disruption and transformation taking place currently in the industry, and Flipkart being the one of the top e-commerce companies in India today, I would like you to share with us a brief overview of the disruption and the transformation taking place in your industry.
Absolutely. It's a very important question that you ask. I think overall, there are significant shifts that we're seeing in buying patterns due to the pandemic. First of all, there's a huge bump up in first-time shoppers online. And this has also resulted in a significant uptake in terms of internet users also seeing this vast opportunity online, right? There are similar shifts happening on the seller side as well, where sellers are also coming online and selling, right? This is a very important aspect because we're obviously a marketplace. There are new modes of commerce also emerging. I think social is one and re-commerce is the other one. And this is seeing renewed and strong interest both from sellers and buyers because new demographics are actually getting represented online. The aspirations for consumers and sellers is very, very high. And there are new target segments coming into the mix. At Flipkart, we're also focused on the next 200 to 400 million customers. And this is where a lot of innovation is happening. I think you will need new voice, vernacular interfaces, because these sets of users are not your typical metro tier 1 type of customers. So these are some of the shifts that we are seeing in the industry.
Thank you, Krishna, for all the points. I think the pandemic has added the list a lot more diversity to the list of the people using e-commerce nowadays. With that, I would like to ask you my next question. How has the hiring strategy changed concern the sourcing, selection, and pipeline management post the pandemic, since the circumstances has vastly changed from how it used to be before the pandemic and now in current scenario?
Yeah, it has definitely undergone a set of changes, Priya. Flipkart, I think we've been privileged to be a very strong talent destination, first of all. Internally, we've built some very robust practices that power our talent acquisition engine. The first and foremost area of focus for us is that we've actually defined a very good set of competencies that we map out for each role. And this has helped us actually find talent, evaluate talent accordingly to the needs of the role that we are talking about. And the pandemic has spelled out a new set of competencies. For instance, when we talk about change agility as an example, the requirement for one to be very, very, I would say, have a mindset of embracing change is very important in the post-pandemic era. So those are areas that we are focused at. The second point I'd like to make is we are staying very true to our employee value proposition, or what we call the EVP, and our core values. Some of our elements of our EVP is around, making sure that anybody who comes onto Flipkart is able to experiment, learn, and grow. They're able to leave a mark. They're able to actually work with the best. Now, these are key elements in our employee value proposition. We've actually ensured in our talent practices and even through acquisition, we stay true to these elements. The environment we exist is very, very dynamic now. And it's important for an organization like ours to actually stay true to the employee value proposition. So that's the second area of focus for us. I would also say that with the kind of mixture of talent that's now coming to Flipkart, there is increased focus on inclusion and diversity, even at the sourcing stage, in terms of diversity slates that we are looking at. We also have a very, very, I would say, pronounced reputation in the market for churning out industry leaders, entrepreneurs, be it in startups, be it in tech. I think this is a result of high culture of agility, resilience, and high performance within Flipkart. So we ensure that these are things that we look for in our hiring process. And finally, if not the most important thing, we focus a lot on the candidate experience. So we actually have a metric called CSAT, which we measure, and we hold the business and the leaders accountable to providing a superior candidate experience. So these are some of the changes that have happened in our hiring strategy over the last couple of years, Priya.
Yeah, actually, pandemic has forced us all to rethink our strategies that we have been following for quite some time now. So with that, I will ask my next question. So how do you redefine employer brands to attract hybrid talent in a virtual context? Since the normal we were used to having is not relevant anymore.
So I think I talked about this briefly, Priya, in terms of the employee value proposition itself. First of all, I think it's important for organizations to highlight their purpose, the reason they exist. What is the problem that we're solving for? And in our case, it's about democratizing commerce for India. And we want to stay true to this purpose, and we continue to this day, right? And into the future as well. So are we communicating our purpose to prospects out there? I think that's a very important aspect of how we think about attracting the right talent into Flipkart. That has really worked for us. The second is actually, like I said, staying true to our employee value proposition and making sure that the experience that we provide right at the time of even talking to candidates, we stay true to the EVP, right? And we are able to actually carve out experiences for them all through the process and as they arrive at Flipkart as well. So that is something that we've actually truly invested a lot behind over the last few years.
Yeah, those are some great initiatives that you have mentioned. And also it has to do a lot with the new technologies that coming in that is helping in enhancing those kind of experience. So with that, I would like to ask you, how important do you think is the new age technology such as data science, machine learning for HR, and how it's helping HR to play a bigger role in business through them?
Yeah, so we are a technology company first and foremost, and we are using technology to disrupt commerce. And if I think about it that way, that's the way we think about technology, even in spaces like HR. For us, HR tech is a key for the future of work. We see it as a lever, not just to automate, but a lever to actually disrupt and help deliver superior employee experience. So therefore, I'll talk about a couple of aspects where technology really plays a big role in HR. The first and foremost I would like to talk about is personalization. We have a very strong sort of vision in HR around thinking that every Flipster is unique and what they bring to the table are unique set of skills, strengths. And we want to make sure that they discover that within Flipkart and they're able to maximize their potential at Flipkart. So from that perspective, personalization becomes a key aspect. Right from hire to retire, are you able to, through the employee life cycle, provide personalized experiences? And I don't believe that you can do that without technology. Technology is the only way to personalize and also scale that experience through the employee lifecycle. So we've made deep investments in that area, and we continue to move in that direction. I'd like to also talk about one of the sort of credo that we have within Flipkart, which is we use data a lot in terms of decision making. And if I were to think about in the area of people, you also need data to make people decisions. And we've invested a lot in our people analytics function, which is actually helping us today provide data powered decision making and insights. So that's a second area that I'd like to talk about. And thirdly, in the era where we need employees to be able to actually contact the HR shared services or operations and to be able to resolve queries in a delightful manner, we've employed chatbots in that equation, and we're able to actually respond with agility and quality to employee queries coming in. And finally, I would say, all of this really helps from a perspective of if you're able to leverage technology and take away some of the work that is more repetitive in nature through the entire employee life cycle, what HR does, you are actually unlocking a lot of bandwidth for HR professionals to engage in more strategic thought processes and truly partner with the business and solve for the business. So those are some of the examples I'd like to quote in terms of where we've deployed technology, as well as I would say this is the way that it actually helps unlock HR potential into the future as well.
Yeah, very rightly said, Krishna. Technology and HR today goes hand in hand. So data helps in decision making for them. So with that, we have come to our last question. As you previously also mentioned that you guys have started to see D&I portion at the very start of sourcing. So I would like to ask you to throw some more light on your D&I agenda currently.
It's one of the most important areas for us, Priya. So, our inclusion and diversity vision at Flipkart is basically this: the best ideas can come from anywhere. And we want to foster a culture of inclusion and belonging where diverse teams innovate and excel every day. So we truly believe in this. And for that to happen, every individual to thrive, they need to feel a sense of belonging and psychological safety. And what better way to do that than to have inclusion as a core value for us? So along with audacity, bias for action, customer centricity, and integrity, inclusion is also a core value at Flipkart. The business case for inclusion and diversity is stronger than ever. I don't think I need to talk much about it. As I mentioned, the best ideas come from anywhere, right? And at Flipkart, we believe that when diversity is at the table, the discussion is richer, the decision-making process is better, and the organization is stronger. And we've seen that happen. During the pandemic, we had to innovate. As I mentioned, we were reaching the next 200, 400 million customers, and their shopping habits are very different from metro tier 1 customers. And when we were building the grocery app, we found that we needed to actually build a voice-based assisted grocery shopping interface. And I don't think this realization could have happened if we didn't have a diverse team deployed on the problem, thinking about the problem and ideating and innovating around the problem. So that's how important it is to us from a business standpoint. It is not just a checkbox for us, right? So building an inclusive mindset and culture, by the way, is not something that can happen without the leadership also sponsoring it actively. So we have all leaders undergoing an inclusive leadership program at Flipkart. And this is something that we lay great emphasis on. I would also say that there needs to be a lot of emphasis in creating the requisite ecosystem to support our inclusion and diversity agenda. So we also are focused on specific areas of diversity. If we talk about gender and particularly STEM, I think the gender ratio tends to be skewed. So we've invested in the ecosystem. We've partnered with universities. We run programs like Girls Want to Code, where we help people actually get acclimatized to what the industry needs are from that perspective. So that's one example I'd like to talk about from an ecosystem standpoint. And the second one is we also are spending a lot of time and effort in strengthening veterans into our workforce. And I think this is a great cause for us. And we've launched an initiative to hire ex-service men and women into the organization called Flip March, which helps us in that direction. So these are some of the initiatives that I can speak about, Priya, in terms of IND.
Yeah, those are some of the great initiatives. And you rightly said, the more diverse the workforce is, it brings the more innovation to the organization. Thank you so much, Krishna, for your time today and speaking at the forum. We have got so much of insights from you and your vast experience in the industry.
Thank you so much, Priya, for having me here.